So, welcome to my channel, Fandom. I'm trying to get this kind of not so high position, but might have to just lean back a bit for this. But for today, we are going to be talking about the final episode of My Hero Academia that is coming out tomorrow. Today is Friday. Last week was a pretty good episode, I would say, for what they're doing for the epilogue. Um, we had a lot of just little final moments to wrap up some stuff. We had Deku talking to Spinner, and then we also had pretty much our final hellish Todoroki situation in a way, with pretty much them in a way. I don't know if it's a full on them like saying goodbye to Dobby, but them meeting up with Dobby after the final battle, the family. And now we're getting the final episode. At least what they're saying is going to be the final episode. I'm very curious. At the end of last week's episode, they do like what they do with every episode. It's always like the coming next week for the next episode. You know, the little preview that they do. Um, they it was your normal little preview, but it was only still about the stuff of like them still being in the school and high school. Nothing about the time skip of them being in their 20s, being adults. Um, so that makes me very curious as to what is getting adapted truly for this final episode. And if it's a final episode, if it's going to be like 22 minutes long, or they're going to maybe extend it to like a 44 something, who knows? Uh, but I'm very curious what they're going to do here. And it's going to be, if they do adapt all of it, it would be probably one of the most controversial endings for My Hero Academia. Currently, what they did for like the manga, they're now introduce. I don't know. I think they might have been playing around with how they were introducing this character, but uh, they don't really. It doesn't have a name, but it's the character that they just introduced in the post credits scene or just very end moments of the final episode that we just had last week. The kid who kind of looks like he has like wires sticking out of his body, like the almost presumed next like Shigaraki. But he's now being introduced. But in the final episode, he was introduced, I think, in the last like 5 chapters before the final chapter in like the manga. But now he's finally getting introduced, and very curious there. Like with that preview I mentioned that they did, uh, it just showed them being in high school still. Maybe their senior year or something. I forgot a little bit right there with the high school stuff, or they might be extending some extra scenes into the anime. Who knows? Um, but we didn't in that preview. They didn't show anything with that time skip of them being adults in society. So I'm very curious if they're going to be adapting chapter 431, which is the final final chapter. But I guess to the author who created the story, I guess what we're gonna maybe see get adapted for this final episode was what he considered his final the actual end for My Hero. I do know that he like released like a little letter, kind of like saying some stuff, and then I guess it just depends on how you interpret it. Sometimes I get not sometimes, but I guess how you do. Um, it's the final like 431. The chapter is kind of just like a not like a love letter, but it's just something for the fans in a way. Uh, Not his like true ending, I guess to put it. Excuse me. Uh, so I'm very curious. There is speculation that maybe 431 gets adapted into like a special. It definitely won't get a movie because it's just not really like an action. There's not like a story for a movie to put it. But there's speculation it could be made into like a special, possibly. I'm not too sure if they would do that. I'm not even too sure if they are what they're going to really do. We'll have to see really tomorrow. But goodness, uh, I'm very curious though. Um, it's gonna be one of the most controversial endings maybe for an anime for something so popular that's been out for so long. The movies have always been good, and they've been really good about integrating that and making sure it's canon. And there's just 50-50 side. as to how people interpret 431 to be canon or not canon, truly, to the main story. And there's a lot of stuff. I have my own opinions on the chapter. I think it's quite a rushed chapter of them being aged up, especially when it comes to Deku and Uraraka. I have mixed opinions on that, as the main like anime doesn't dive into romance. It really doesn't. It's more it's not a focus for the show or the story for Deku especially. Like he has his moments of just flusterness, but it's nothing really hinted towards romantic. And I feel like what happens in chapter 431, if they do get adapted, it's going to bring up the same kind of discussions when the manga happened. It's going to piss off a lot of ship groups who have like it really is both on both sides. It's going to be just arguments. Um, but I think personally it is a rushed thing that I don't think really needed to happen. People saying it could, I don't know. It's not like it's a full on plot hole, but I feel like to have it be put into like the final like panels of the story is very forced onto Deku's character. It just I don't know. Just not to try to go into like the ship group stuff, but like I don't know. Like I want him to be happy the character, but the way they writ, it's like man, you could it if there's not more chapters, I feel like it would be better. I don't know. But it's also one of those things where I believe that even the creator is like 431 is not like his full on real ending to the story. So it's like interpreted if you want, if it's canon or not canon. But in the end, it's something that's written. So if it is just, if they do adapt it, I hope they can maybe do it better than how it was in the manga, maybe extend it more. I don't know. But it's definitely a puzzle, especially, and I guess to go into the ship groups, we kind of got it. It's just you have the Deku Uraka people, and then you have, the Deku Baku, or however it's flipped around. But not even gonna mention what sides I really support, but in the end, I want this character to be happy. But I feel like they they don't do justice to a lot of the characters in their final panels, especially like Bakugo with just doing the "see you later" type thing. I'm like, bro, like that feels just so bland and just I don't know. And then to go right into after that, it's like, oh, Deku, realize your feelings or something, and everything about that. Uh, it's just kind of forced in the end for my hero, for being kind of also an interpretation of just letting the characters be themselves, be a little bit free from the story, to be put it how I think it was, however it was translated in his letter, the authors. Um, but I don't know. It's the story kind of has a very rushed ending for that chapter, but for tomorrow's episode, I'm really uncertain if they're going to be adapting that chapter or they're going to stop at 400. I believe I forgot where it really. I think it's just 430 is really what he considered his final thing, or it was a little like a few chapters back. It was a weird thing. It's been a while since I've seen since a lot of people have mentioned it since honestly the manga happened, which was like 2 years ago. Chachimaru, what are you doing, little one? Kitty, kitty, come here, here. Hi, yeah, come here. There we go. Oh, don't put your claw into me. Chill. There you go. Ow. Yeah. What'd you find? What'd you find? You want that? Okay. But yeah, for the My Hero episode, I don't know. It's gonna be a very puzzling thing for what happens tomorrow. It's gonna be very talked about on YouTube and all over. And I don't even know, like this being kind of like speculations on what's gonna happen. It's just I don't want to like go too controversial with my opinions too much, but to put it out there is just I do believe that chapter is very rushed if they do want to adapt it. But for whatever they do, for if it's just the high school section that they're just finishing off on for like 430 that chapter. Who knows? Like I said, speculations on the special, if that will ever happen, if that is something, or if maybe they're not showing the adult time skip in that preview for the new episode. They're just waiting for it to be shown, I guess, tomorrow. But it's going to be definitely one of the most controversial, probably, endings for an anime, just to put it. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm being very repetitive, honestly, I feel. But just I don't know. This is a show that is really good. At first, I wasn't really into it, but it really grew on me. And then the movies are just amazing. I think I love the third film a lot, and I don't know. Maybe if the manga was extended a bit more for, I guess, that time skip of them being all adults and not just being left to being one chapter. That's just a long chapter, and that's the thing. That chapter is long, so I don't think it could be put into like tomorrow's episode. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see if they're going to announce something also right after the episode drops. Like, Psych, not the real final episode. Here is going to be the new final episode. Or, I don't know. I feel like I've seen an anime or two do that before. I don't remember which ones, but I don't know. I just kind of want to have a little discussion here. Just at least let my thoughts out here about what could be happening. But yeah, it's gonna be a puzzle tomorrow when it does drop. So we already made it here at a 10-minute mark, and I think I said pretty much a lot of the stuff I'm kind of just. I don't know if I'm worried, but it's gonna be like the manga all over again. That's how I think it's gonna be. Just a lot of talk and just a lot of fighting online. It's gonna be starting again. That's not already is happening because it's the final episodes are just here. So, so I guess to leave this off, just let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and when the episode does drop tomorrow, what you guys will be thinking, and if you guys believe chapter 431 is going to get adapted or not fully. And I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's gonna be tomorrow's episode fully, unless they're hiding it for it being tomorrow's episode. But to end this off, thank you for tuning into this video. Um, yeah, well, I want to do a bit more of these in the future, kind of just when for movies, TV shows, when it comes like big projects, like speculations before it comes out fully. So let me know in the comments down below, like I said, and tune in to the Fandom Geek Culture podcast I have with the Chipmunk 170, and also check out his live stream. He's live right now, I believe, doing his Frightmare Friday stuff. So tune into those, and take care, everybody. See ya. Now, where is that? But there we go.